Good afternoon. This is Ramu Ramanathan from Print Week India. I welcome all of you to the webinar, which is Improve Your ROI with the right Prepress technology in association with Kodak. We have three fantastic panelists with us today and extremely honored to have all three of them. Vidhu Gautam of Kodak, K. Shyam Sundar of Digiflex in Hyderabad, and Sahil Rao from Akruti in Pune. At Print Week, we are interestingly poised at this time of the month. Basically, there are three things that are transpiring. One is the entries for the Print Week India Awards, which are pouring in. And in spite of all the troubles with GST, we find that the enthusiasm among the Indian graphic art industry for participation in the awards continues. The second thing is GST, and we find that a lot of our readers and also a lot of the printing industry and firm across the country are struggling to some extent with making some sense out of GST. Even as we speak, printers, paper and packaging bodies are making representation to various GST councils and government bodies. There's a huge amount of debate about point 26 and 27 of notification, and the debates over 12%, 5%, 18% continues. So that is something that seems to be lingering. In spite of all this, we find that the participation for today's webinar on a key subject called, which is Prepress, has been huge, and we therefore thank you for your participation for today's webinar. One of the things that as members of the graphic arts industry and as Print Week, or as a team at Print Week India, we've been doing is we visit a lot of printers, and as is our practice, we ask a few technical questions to the master printers or the shop floor in charge. And one fun question that we generally like to ask is, what is the trickiest color that you've had to print? A recent answer we received from a master printer in Pune was that his ability to print a light green color on an ivory board, 40,000 sheets were printed with ink matching, and the entire mixing, which was done manually for the entire job. And ink consumption was approximately 40 kgs. So we keep coming across these little gems when we visit shop floors and and talk to press operators. And then on further probing, we realized two or three things is the quality standards that they're seeking. And the second is a very good and thorough knowledge of the processes and capacity in order to understand the job, and then, of course, to finally produce it. This is something that we find gaining supremacy in our industry, which is training. And training on a day-to-day basis, and this is something we also find that it's easier said than done. And one of the big reasons is because today's customers, be it top brands, super brands, or even your next door customers, extremely fussy. They're demanding, they're well informed, they're aware of fonts, they're aware of color management, they're aware of grammars, they're aware of which grade of paper is required, and so on. And in all the tension and hurry-worry, the pressures on the shop floor, we notice that our industry at some point of time seems to be grappling with basic issues. Very recently, about 3 months ago, we had done a on-the-spot survey with a bunch of printers across the country. And our what we wanted to arrive was what were some of the things or some of the challenges that our industry is coping with. And there were 5 or 6 trends, which is what I would like to share. One is that about 10.5% of the printers whom we had surveyed felt that clients were insisting on higher quality. The second trend that emerged was 15.8 printers felt that shrinking turnaround times was important. 16.2 print firms were very bothered by paper price and paperboard price and the import duty for paper. 26.3 were trying to cope with shrinking run lengths. And finally, and I think this was the sort of big takeaway from that particular survey, was that 35.4 felt that there was a huge trend towards more color, graphics, and complex designs. And it is this 35.4% and the sort of emphasis on that is the thrust of today's webinar. So this very neatly brings us to our first speaker, that's Vidhu Gautam of Kodak, who joins us from Singapore. I met him for the first time during an Indo-German color conference in Mumbai in 2010. And it was, again, the discussions were on various points which were dwelling on prepress and the wide gamut of technologies that were available. And I recall at that point of time, even way back in 2010, which is approximately 7 years ago, that there were 6 or 7 issues that had emerged. One was, is ISO 12647 color management or no? Is the notion that software alone will do the trick for printers on the shop floor? Is it always the Indian way to have a casual approach to the process on with prepress? Why is it that a majority of our plants have inappropriate environment and viewing conditions? These sort of widespread proliferation of uncalibrated equipment and materials, lack of proper instrument measurement systems, improper knowledge and incorrect procedures on the shop floor, lack of appreciation by creative persons, especially designers, and their lack of knowledge about production limitations, and above all, not being up to date with current technologies. Even in 2010, I recall Vidhu had outlined 3 factors in prepress, which was the importance of communicating, controlling, and being able to measure that and confirming it. His mantra, I think, at that time was that the management of these 3 tools would lead to effective color management. So Vidhu Gautam, I welcome you and over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramu. And good afternoon to all the attendees. I truly appreciate you taking time from your busy schedules this afternoon to talk to us. Before I get started, I would like to apologize to all of you. I'm a little under the weather and I have a sore throat, so please bear with me on that. I'll try my very best, I promise you, to keep my voice going till the end of this session. With that, let's get into the most important topic of the day, that is, how do you improve the return on your investment in your businesses? Every one of you folks in the industry are challenged today. How do you really make your businesses profitable? Keep the board rolling all the time, keep the cash register rolling all the time. So we'll talk about that. But before I get into the topic, allow me to very quickly introduce you excuse me, to Kodak. We are a global technology company. We are a global leader in digital imaging and color science with a revenue of 1.6 billion with 6,100 employees. And we are servicing our customers across all the 6 subcontinents across the globe with our technology and with our know-how. Next slide, please. All right, so as I mentioned, Kodak is a company, a technology company with its roots in digital imaging and digital color and material science. Our existence is for over 130 years. And all of these 130 years, we have all done is science to create. The focus for today's talk would be more on profits for printers, differentiations for the brands, quality for manufacturers, and acceleration for entrepreneurs. In addition to this, of course, we do take care of very, very sincerely and responsibly, we take care of sustainability and other aspects of the business. So moving forward, as we go forward, you'll see one of the trends in the industry today, in the graphic arts industry, one of the growing business is packaging, irrespective of what print process you are printing with, whether you're printing with offset, which is of course the name of the game for many, many years, or gravure, which is the process for flexible packaging, or flexography, which is the new kid on the block, but definitely taking the momentum at a very fast pace. So I will focus largely on packaging this afternoon, and then I will drift into other print processes, and I'll welcome any questions at the end of the session, whatever you might have for me. So if you look at the ecosystem in the packaging production, You start with the design concept and you go all the way to the final printing product. But as we look at the trends in the industry, flexographic packaging or packaging in general is growing at about 4.5 to 5% compound average growth rate year on year, and by 2020 it is expected to reach about 290 billion business across the globe. If you look at the breakdown of the market as a global numbers, flexography makes up about 39% of the total packaging being produced. Gravure globally is declining, is about 14%. Offset is kind of holding the ground with 24%, and there are new processes and other processes which makes up about 19% of the total packaging being produced. If you look at the bottom part of this sheet, this chart, there are two charts. One is, and they talk about print quality versus substrate flexibility. So in packaging world, the packaging is being produced on many different substrates, all the way from paper-based packaging to film-based packaging to metal-based packaging. So the different print processes being used for different applications. And we have tried to triangulate those print processes where they stand in terms of quality and productivity and flexibility and so on and so forth. As we go forward, let's talk a little bit in details why Kodak Flexcell NX technology stands out in every aspect of the business. We introduced this technology called Flexcell NX, which is a digital prepress, digital flexo plate making system, introduced about 8 years back at Drupa 2008. We started commercially selling the technology in 2010, and at Drupa in 2016, precisely 6 years later, we celebrated our 500th unit and counting. Why this technology is so widely accepted by the world? For the very simple reason, it does click the right buttons, what you need as production people, as business people, and what your customers need in their products. Increase prepress productivity or increase shelf impact and so on and so forth. We'll go deeper into details as we go forward, but these are the basics of this technology. But we'll take a step back as we, please, next slide, please. If you take a look back in 2008 Drupa, when we first introduced this technology, we didn't want it to be a Me Too technology or Me Too product or Me Too solution. We wanted to rock the boat. We wanted to offer a differentiated solution in a very unique way that would address all the limitations of existing inherent technologies. So we started on a whiteboard, and on a whiteboard we started with what were the real limitations of the digital flexo at that point in time. And then we pointed that out. And then we said, okay, these are the technical challenges, but at the same time, there has to be a business sustainability as well. There could be a brilliant technology. If that doesn't address your requirements, your needs of the business, the technology is no good. So the technology has to be technically sound, but at the same time, it has to be a business sustainable technology. So if you look at the chart on the right-hand side on this slide, the 3 arrows, so one of the things that we did, we said, okay, we are going to increase the revenue through a differentiated print process. We are going to reduce the waste with improved sustainability and help improving the sustainability. And last but not least, we will reduce the overall cost of manufacturing through the production efficiencies in the processes. With this mantra, we started laying down this technology, the architecture of this technology. And then we created a disruptive technology which was unique, which was film-based, and which was very differentiated technology to the existing technologies at that point in time and even today. So let's take a look at our scorecard, what we have achieved over past 8 years. So we have enabled cost-effective flexo process with no compromise, and that's the name of the game. We make absolutely no compromise in productivity, in efficiency, in repeatability, in consistency, and so on and so forth. Quality is a bonus. We don't even talk about quality. That's a bonus. I am a consumer. As a consumer, I demand quality. I don't want to pay for quality. What we have also delivered with Kodak technology is it's unique and unmatched. And last but not least, and most important, and this is what I want you to take home today, our customers across the globe, they come to us for quality, but they stay with us for the productivity and efficiencies they get in their pre-press room and on their presses. And that's the name of the game. So for the brand owners, what we have offered is the highest quality and shelf impact that they are always after. For pre-press professionals, we have offered the highest productivity and quality. So let us talk a little bit about our strengths in the pre-press. Why are we so different? Number one, we are one optimized solution that brings the full capability. So it's an end-to-end solution. It's a turnkey solution. We have simplified the inventory management for you as a pre-press service bureaus or printers. There is only one kind of plate Kodak offers that does cater for all the different applications you might be catering for, whether it's labels and tags, flexible packaging, pre-print liners, or post-print corrugated. We are a system that is capable of highest print resolution, but the unique differentiator is we use a laser which is only 2400 dpi, and I will talk a little bit deeper into that as we go forward. We have the capability to the highest resolution of the plate in the industry, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. But what is really important for you to take away from here is how can you be productive. So we are the fastest productivity system per shift. We give you the fastest imaging speed, at least 50% more productive versus any of the competitive system. All right, so let's move on before we dwell into technology. So let's take a look at a classic example. If you are a 10 million flexo printer, if you look at all the breakdown of your costs across your business, your administrative cost, your sales and marketing cost, your pre-press cost, your press, your finishing, your human resources, and so on and so forth, only 3% of the total cost of operation is taken up by the pre-press. But this 3% ensures that the 97% is working efficiently every day of the month. And that's the name of the game. How do we improve? If you are a printer, your press uptime. If you are a pre-press service bureau, how do we improve the number of plates you make in an 8-hour shift? And I would like to quote an example here. Recently, just about a month back, myself and the president of my business from United States, we were traveling in the region, and we happened to be at TPN FlexPack in Thailand, which is the largest flexible packaging converter in this part of the world. As the CEO of the TPN was giving us a tour to their facility, they showed us the big machine floor where they had giant heavy metal churning around, tons and tons of material every minute. And then he took us to his pre-press room where Kodak system was sitting in a corner, and he said, look how small this system is versus my entire operation. And suddenly we were like, uh-oh, this is not going right. But before we could say anything, the CEO turned around and he says, but this little thing here makes sure that my big machines are all working efficiently. And that's the power of having the right technology, having the right pre-press solution in your operation. So let's go further from here, and we'll talk more about what the technology brings to you. So what we did from there, we did a case study of a printer. And just to give you a little bit of background of this printer has 13 extruders. They extrude all their films from 2-ply to 9-ply. They have 7 CI flexo presses, and they were traditionally running with the lamps, digital lamps plates. They were running at 133 lines a minute with 180 meters a minute. Since they have adopted Kodak technology, they have moved their entire press flow to 175 lines per inch with and running their presses at 350 meters a minute. They have increased their productivity by 50% as a printer. They have worked very closely with Kodak, and we have very successfully brought their waste downtime on their presses from 60 to 65% to 50%, and our target is to bring it further down to 45%. We have moved the printed waste from 12% to 7%. In absolute terms, it's 5%, but in the real terms, it's a 42% saving for the printer. And of course, last but not the least, saving on press investment is huge. If they had to run at 133 lines at 180 meters a minute, by now they will be filled up with their capacity and they had to invest in new presses. By giving them 50% more capacity, excuse me, Kodak has helped them to save their investment in the new presses. So can we move forward, please? Now let us take a closer look at how this has all been enabled. So the heart of any system when it comes to imaging is the imaging technology itself. Kodak has chosen, as I mentioned to begin with, we didn't want to be a Me Too technology. So we took some educated steps forward, and we selected a Kodak's very unique square spot imaging technology, which is very precise, very accurate, consistent with the sharpest possible spot size of 10 micron. As we go into the next slide, we can have a quicker look at what difference does square spot technology offers versus the conventional Gaussian laser. If you look at the Gaussian laser, a Gaussian laser can be best explained as a torchlight being flashed on a wall. What do you see on that? You see a very hard, very solid core, but as you go to the fringe, it tends to fade off. And this is exactly what Gaussian laser does in an imaging system. So it starts at a very solid core, very high intensity of laser at the core, but as it goes to the fringe, it tends to fade off. As a result of that, it introduces the imaging errors. To multiply these imaging errors is the carbon layer attached to the plate, which is always not consistent. Whereas if you look at the right-hand side of the image, a Kodak square spot laser have a very uniform distribution of laser intensity across the entire profile of the dot. Though our spot size is 10 micron, each dot that you produce excuse me, is an array. Can you please go back for a second? Each dot that you produce is an array of 4 by 4 array of 2400 dpi laser. And if you look at the extreme right hand image, so by default every single plate that comes out of the system is a high definition plate with the addressability of 10,000 dpi. Let's move forward. To complement this, we have created a very unique, very special material called thermal imaging layer. Can you move on to the next slide, please? Which complements this very high resolution laser with the capability of an extremely high resolution imaging mask that can hold all the way down to 10 micron dots, or pixel for pixel reproduction. Whatever you have in your bitmap files can be translated and imaged and recorded on this special material. And being the highest resolution material, this is also the fastest imaging material existing on the surface of Earth today. So there are a couple of things that you need to remember about an imaging layer. Can you move forward, please? If we compare the imaging layer with a conventional lamps mask, a lamps mask needs very high laser intensity to burn and open up a dot or the formation of a dot. whereas TIL of Kodak needs very low power, but it is absolutely consistent and repeatable, very accurate, and gives you, there is a binary technology. There is no half dot or half open dot. Either there is a dot or no dot at all. So you have no room for error in recording a TIL versus the conventional lamps technology. If you go forward, so there are a couple of things that you can take away from here from Kodak imaging layer technology. Number one, this is the highest resolution mask that requires 3 to 4 times less energy for imaging. It's a multi-thin layered coating technology, which is a Kodak patented technology that enables crisp and sharp imaging. But what is really important is it gives you one-to-one reproduction from your bitmap file to the photopolymer plate that you're producing. And of course, it's a unique Kodak technology. If we go forward, this mask enables you to have one-to-one reproduction from your bitmap file to the photopolymer plate. And most importantly, this enables a couple of things. Number one, NX advantage, and I'll talk a little bit more about NX advantage technology as we go forward. Enables the productivity and consistency at the lowest possible cost, and it enables the simplest flexo plate portfolio of the industry. So please take note of very high altitude points. Productivity all the way from bitmap file to imaging of the photopolymer plate, simplicity of your workflow, and of course with the capability of the high resolution laser and imaging material combination, you have to make no compromise. You are actually recording the entire tonal dynamic range from 0.4% all the way to 99.6% of the scale. Let's move on, please. Next slide, please. The next piece of the equation is the photopolymer plate itself. Kodak plate is unique. We have designed or engineered a plate that is capable of holding the highest resolution in the industry. And all this data that you are seeing on your screens at the moment, it's all the information from the websites, and that's why I have no problem sharing this information with you. We have gone to the website of different vendors and we have downloaded this information, and you can do exactly the same thing. So Kodak plate is highest resolution, built for 300 LPI with a widest possible tonal range, catering for 0.4% to 99.6% dots. But most importantly, the minimum isolated dot on a flexo plate is always a challenge, and Kodak's plate stands out big time on that, capable of holding 50 micron dots at any point of time. Okay, move on, please. What does that mean to you? Now you have a plate that can hold extremely high resolution dots. You have an imaging material that can hold the entire tonal dynamic range. Now that as a prepress operator, as a prepress service bureau, or even as a printer, you have to invest minimum time in making up your files or file retouching or bumping up to hold the highlights. So we have simplified with this imaging technology and image carrier, we have simplified your entire prepress operation. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours to do your prepress file touch-up. You can actually do it in just a breeze, the way you do it in Offset Word. And now to complement it, we have the lamination technology, and keep moving please, which is patented process for Kodak that enables oxygen inhibition, eliminates that totally, and gives you full height flat top dot with a very fine surface texture that enables extremely good ink transfer to the most difficult substrates. And this is always done consistently day in and day out, every day of the month. Keep moving, please. Keep going forward. So What Kodak has delivered as a result is a full height flat top dot, absolutely one-to-one reproduction from your bitmap files to the photopolymer plate. That too with the ease of use, that too with the eliminated or reduced prepress work, prepress retouching, gives you more capacity in your prepress room to take care of more designs and more work. Keep moving, please. The next, so what we have delivered with this technology so far is increased process color printing. Now we have opened up the entire tonal dynamic range. With that, you have opened up the color gamut. So as a wider color gamut, you don't need to necessarily use a lot of spot colors. You can actually bring back the work into process color gamut. You can increase your highlight tonal range. So we have reduced the highlight tonal compression and increased the color consistency and predictability. So many a times I have been always asked about the color and color consistency, and we can talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. Next slide, please. One of the biggest advantage or one of the biggest change the industry has seen in past several years is, in my very humble opinion, NX Advantage technology. This is a combination of two different technologies. Number one, surface engineered plates that enables extremely good ink transfer and work with in conjunction with the cell volume of the analog. So Kodak has engineered 6 different patterns, as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, to work with different combination of analog cell volumes to deliver the best laydown of ink on the most difficult substrates. And the second piece of the technology is advanced edge definition that enables the smallest possible elements in the design to be intact, sharp, crisp, and still eliminate the ink to overflow or fill up the elements. Next slide, please. And this is all automated. We have minimum human intervention in this entire process. So all what you are seeing from here is largely fully automated. What NX Advantage has delivered to the industry so far is, number one, improved white ink laydown. If you are in flexible packaging environment, you will realize that 50% of the total ink spend of the entire year is only the white ink. With this NX Advantage capability, Kodak can save you up to 30% of white ink, which is a huge saving. With our advanced edge definition technology, we have reduced the reverse text size of fill-in. That results into you can actually reduce the size of the text on the designs and give more advertising space to your brand owners. So your brand owners will be the happiest people to work with you when you give them more space on their packages for their advertisement. But most importantly, what we have achieved, which was not conceivable in flexography 8 years back, is the control on contrast. Today, with the latest, greatest technologies that we are talking about, you have total control on the contrast of the print, the way you hold the contrast in offset place. And last but not least, minimizing the gray effect. So with the wider color tonal range, wider color gamut, we are giving a lot back to the industry. Keep going, don't need to go back. If you look at the text element on the next slide, yeah. If you compare a 4-point gravure text versus a 4-point flexo text with advanced edge definition in NX, you can see the vast difference. So we have actually eliminated all the modeling. We have given fast, sharpest possible text with our technologies. But most importantly, if you look at these tonal scales, we are giving you the full contrast and full control on the contrast of the print in prepress and all the way to the press. If you look at the right hand side of the images before and after, you can see the reverse text become much more sharper with no modeling, no filling up, and no TEV. Move on, please. And that is a huge thing you can give to a brand. So as a result of all these technological advancements and simplification of the prepress work, Kodak has delivered a unique film-based technology that drives quality, productivity, and efficiency. So, if you look at the big picture, we deliver a unique technology which is unmatched, unparalleled, that delivers unparalleled quality, unparalleled productivity and efficiency in the pre-press room as well as on the press. And once again, I would repeat, our customers do come to us for quality, but they stay with us for productivity and efficiency and the savings in the press room and pre-press room every single hour of their business. So if you look at a glance with Kodak Prepress technology, a complete turnkey solution called FlexoNX, Kodak offers the quality which is on par with gravure and offset, or gives you the productivity and efficiency in the pre-press room, in the press room, and in every step of the production operation. It's a unique film-based technology that delivers highest resolution, highest predictability, highest imaging speed, NX advantage capabilities, and most importantly, fully digital control texturing with a simplified, most simplified portfolio. So you don't have to have multiple plate types in your inventory. A single plate type does cater for all the work that you do day in and day out. Next slide, please. Now I'm switching the gears. So far I was talking about flexography. Allow me to switch the gears. Let me take a more challenging thing. Typically, offset is these days under tremendous stress and pressure in terms of operational efficiencies, in terms of business profitability, and so on and so forth. So Kodak has once again taken a very unique approach. Kodak has taken a very responsible approach. So we analyze once again what the industry needs. Industry, as we all know, and you know it better than I do, is on the cusp of a revolution where quality is a want. As I mentioned earlier, no consumer wants to pay for quality. They demand quality. And sustainability becomes a necessity. That's the name of the game today. So how do we help you cut down on your waste, whether it's chemical waste, water waste, paper, electricity, waste due to variability, and so on and so forth. So allow me to walk you through what Kodak can do for you and what Kodak is doing for you, being a very responsible business partner. What if we could offer you a solution that could reduce number one operational cost and impact on environment? So once again, if you track back a second, industry wanted to be cost effective and at the same time sustainable. Sustainability at a high cost is not desired. Sustainability at the operational efficiency cost is what the name of the game is. Removal of burden of maintaining and running the processors in your operation. Offering the most simplified, streamlined plate making operation. And last but not least, improved operational efficiency, but at the same time allowing you to go green, allowing you to be more environmentally responsible and create a safer workplace environment for you and for your staff and your customers. So Kodak, in its commitment for excellence, created another unique technology. We call it Senora. What is Senora? Senora is a process-free plate technology that offers you the lowest cost of operation, gain highest environmental benefits, improve process controls, simplified, streamlined operation, but at the same time being absolutely environmentally responsible, be more sustainable, and without any compromise. That's the name of the game. We are not compromising on productivity or efficiency of your operations. So in the nutshell, we are the only true process-free solution. That means we are actually eliminating a processor from your floor. We are actually eliminating the use of water and chemicals. Now let us take a quick look at the evolution of the plate technology in the offset world, which is under tremendous stress and pressure at this point in time. So if you look at the top part, there used to be so many different steps, starting from imaging to preheat to rinse to develop and so on and so forth, before the plate gets to the printing press. As we evolved further, we reduced some of the steps like preheating. But now, today, we are talking of the most simplified workflow, most efficient workflow, most time efficient and cost efficient workflow with Kodak Senora technology. With Senora process-free plate, you simply image the plate in the CTP device and take it to the press and start printing. You don't require a physical processor, no chemistry is required, no water is used. Plate is just imaged in the imager and straight away goes to the press. So let's go forward, please. What does that deliver to you? As the plate goes to the press, probably it takes the first 5 sheets to develop on press, and from 6th sheet onwards, you are actually printing. You are actually producing a print that becomes profitable. What does that mean to you as an operational efficiency, as a business efficiency? Is in a single word, I can say savings. Savings in electricity and water. So you're saving monthly about 1,250 units of electricity, which is equivalent to 3.7 tons of carbon emission per year. So you are actually being very responsible to the environment while you are saving the cost of operation. Number 2, you are saving monthly consumption of water of 2,400 liters, which is equal to drinking water for 40 persons for one entire month. So come to think of it, what are you contributing back to the society, to the environment, to the world, while you're saving your own operational cost? But most importantly, one of the things that I have not mentioned here, and I would like to talk to you for a few seconds, is you are saving a huge deal of time. Everything else can be brought back to you, but time once gone is gone. But I wish I could be 16 again. Unfortunately, I can't be. You can't turn back the clock. And this is where it's a big saving, wherein you are actually saving a lot of time in processing. You're actually simply imaging a plate and taking it to the press. You save material, you save chemistry, you save water, you save electricity, and most importantly, you save time. And in my simple mind, time is life. So you are saving life. The benefits of going process-free, number 1, as I have already discussed with you, reduced operational costs. You are being the environmental leaders. You're differentiating yourself from the rest of the world by offering a differentiated print. Simplified and streamlined prepress workflow. And at the end of the day, what really matters to all of us are in business to make money, to be more profitable. So with all these technologies coming together, you are becoming more profitable in everyday operation of your business. I really appreciate your time, and thank you very much for your patient hearing. And my apologies for being a little bit edgy along the way because of my sore throat. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ramu.
Thank you, Vidhu. Genuinely appreciate this. And please take care of your health and the cough. It sounds horrible. I'll quickly move on to K. Shyam Sundar of Digiflex. It's a Hyderabad-based pre-press bureau, and I've had the honor of visiting this unit twice. The factory is in Chelapalli and is driven by the Kodak Flexo NX, a digital flexographic system which Vidhu just spoke about. Since 2014, this firm has consolidated its service to cater to the packaging market, not just in Hyderabad, but in other parts of the country as well. The day that I spent at the plant, especially with Shyam Sundar, at that time he shared many things with me. And I recall 5 of his statements because I think they were wise learnings from a person who had, expended a lot of his time and energy and in understanding flexography. One was that dot gain is the benchmark for every printer. Two, he mentioned that 20 microns in India in flexo is a good standard for printing. Three, he spoke of the future of flexo in corrugation, which he felt was brighter with more automation and automated plants available in the market. And then point four was the sort of offset versus flexo debate. And Shyam Sundar at that time mentioned that flexo will be converting 20% of offset jobs with the same quality. And five was when I'd asked him what was a tricky job, at that point of time he showed me a sample, and it was a printer who was printing halftone with 175 lines and a density of 2 with the same plate and on the same analog roller. So this is the company and the gentleman who creates this magic. Over to K. Shyam Sundar. Shyam, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, I've been into this Prepress segment since last 25 years, and I was mainly catering to offset printers and advertising agencies in Hyderabad. So when the offset segment was for Prepress, it was going absolute. Then we started off going for anything like investing in the flexo plates. So for which we have started the Digiflex in 2014. However, we started our commercial production in 2015 at Cherlapalli with a space of 4,000 SFT premises, and we have installed the latest Kodak Flexo NX system along with the Johnson Johnson ECDLF and inline processor suitable for making the digital plates of Kodak Flexo NX. And also we emphasize one good thing is that after seeing all these things, we thought of putting a good infrastructure. Otherwise, the quality of plates and all, however the good your equipment may be, if your infrastructure is not good, the end result will be poor. So for that, we have visited some plants all over the world, and then we try to adopt as much as possible as far as infrastructure is concerned, and we have made our Prepress in following the worldwide tradition. And our motto was make local and be global. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello, next slide. Next slide. Hello. Next slide, please.
Just a moment, Shyam. There's a tech glitch. Just a moment. Just a moment.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, now it's Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So why Kodak Flexo NX? I think Vidhu has already made my life easy by explaining the Flexo NX technology. However, it has to be on the shop floor how it is beneficial for our industry, flexo plate making. For us, it was very difficult for choosing the right equipment to meet the market requirements. Since we were in the offset field and this flexo plate Prepress was our new type of technology for us. So we to know which is the best suitable equipment suitable for us, we have done a lot of groundwork regarding the latest market trends, and then mainly what we have focused is what our customer base requires, what is his requirement, what type of plates he is using, and what type of quality is expecting from us, and how can we improve that. For this, to make this high quality plates, it involves a various complicated process. Unlike offset there is only simple 2 or 3 processes, but whereas it is a very complicated process, and also which made us tougher to decide on the best solution available in the market. After taking all the trials and looking at the productivity, quality, and ease of simplicity, as Vidhu explained regarding Kodak Flexo NX system, the plates which are delivered by Kodak's NX system was outstanding performance and quality when compared to the other technologies. That we have found this by giving to a printer same job doing on different varieties of plate like lamps plate, other plates and all, and then we are given in the Kodak plate. Then the printer was very happy with the Kodak plate. So by this, the Kodak presented as the most suitable solution for business it, and this is the reason why we were opted for flexo index system. Next slide, please. See, since we were very new to this field and to have to meet with the existing suppliers quality, we are in this field since long time, and our approach to get the good business, new business, was to maintain the existing quality, at least to maintain the existing quality what the printer is getting from the other from other prepress processes, and to eliminate and what is the problems he is facing with the existing plates. You have to eliminate those problems. So that was the main motto of my taking this challenge. For this, we have done a lot of fingerprinting with each customer. The fingerprinting was a basic need for us to know what the customer requires and what is the capability of printing. For example, if the printer is having two machines and he cannot get the result in two machines same, because same plate the results are different. So to know why this is happening, I have done a lot of fingerprinting, and we were able, by this we were able to understand what is the capability of the machine and what is the capability of the printer, how far you can go, what are these analogs, what is the shape of analogs, whether they are in good shape or bad shape, what is the thing, and what is the end result is giving. Based on that, based on our fingerprinting, what we have done is we analyzed all the factors with the help of product engineers, and then we are able to know what is the dot gain and how much LPI he can print and what type of ink he is using, so that we were able to give the printer what is the desired plate for him. For example, if a printer is, if I give a 175 LPI to a printer who is using a 300 analogs, the results will be bad. So for that, to know the suitable plates, what plates is required for the printer, we have selected this fingerprinting process and done extensive fingerprinting. That was our success. That was our success point. So when we are given the plates to the printer, end result was very, very good. So when the printer was comparing these earlier plates, he was very happy regarding the output, end output. So it has helped him in reducing the wastage, make ready. And one printer, he was telling me that, sir, previously I used to waste 30 meters or 40 meters. Now with your plates, I am wasting only 5 meters for make ready. So that was the happiest thing to hear from a printer. So this has helped us to improve our business. And then not only this thing, and it has helped in savings of varnishing and inks also. And for all these things, whatever first job we have done without any trial, that job got accepted. So this has created a very strong customer base for us, and this customer base has helped us to create the new clients on a regular basis, bringing more business for us. Next slide, please. See, and now coming back to the productivity and versatile. This Kodak NX flexo plates, as Vidya has explained, has got a lot of advantages, and its workflow is very, very simple when compared to other things. What we thought that making a flexo plate is very, very complicated. Yes, it is a complicated, but this Kodak technology, the CTP workflow and everything made our life very simple, so that we are able to eliminate the major steps and to concentrate only on few steps, so that where our quality is good. And since it is the more eco control system, and the problems what our customers were facing were addressed at one point of contact, and seamless, that means between equipment, workflow, consumables, technical support and working, everything was under one platform. So this has created a very, very easy manufacturing process for us, so that we are able to concentrate more on the emphasis more on the quality process, quality than knowing about how to do this thing, how to do that thing. But it has helped us a lot. Suppose if I go for a multiple manufacturer, like if I am having a plate with some supplier and then going for the something other consumable from other, so that will give a very bad result. So what will happen that if I having a problem, the plates will the plate manufacturer will blame the CTP manufacturer will blame the this thing plate manufacturer. So this we are eliminated by going to a single platform. Okay. Next slide. So as I mentioned, the single manufacturer and ease of operation. After all these things, the feedback, every time we take a feedback on all, each customer will go and say, so what was the problem we are facing earlier with this job? And then we were taking the feedback from the customers. The customers were very, very encouraging for us, and they are giving us the feedback so that all the problems where the shop floor have been, we are able to address by, for example, reducing the wastage and make ready and tweak. And one particular point I like to mention here is, for any flexo printer, the biggest challenge was to print a half tone and a solid in a single color in single plate. So for example, for half tones, they use higher analogs, higher value of analog. And to get the desired density for a solid, they use a lower analogs. So this was the main problem any printer was facing. So to eliminate this thing, what we have done is, we have adopted the Kodak Digicap NX screening technology. As Vidhu has explained, it is a unique combination of the different patterns where you have got 6 advanced patterns there. So after doing the fingerprinting, and you are able to know in which, if you apply, for example, if you apply advanced one, the half tones as well as half tone dot gain as well as the solids, both were in tandem. That means both were coming the desired values. So by this, we are able to give the printer, for example, if it is printing a 5 color, we only for solid is printing a 5th color. So that we are eliminated. So the printer was saving one plate. So that way he was very, very happy that this 4 color, 5 color job has been converted to 4 color, and the results were as good as a 5 color job. And regarding the CI flexo jobs also, what we have done is, here also we have done, it is a very, very tricky situation for doing a jobs of CI flexo job, because even if you change the tape, for example, from medium to high or from medium to high, something like that, and if you change the brand also, the results will vary for a complicated job. Especially now the CI flexo printers, they always try to match with the gravure quality, because now all the gravure qualities, all the gravure printing jobs converted to CI flexo jobs. So for this, we have done the Kodak team and then tapes team like that. So we have created a group with all the technical people, and we have done extensive fingerprinting at 1 or 2 clients, so that for white opaque, what is the dot we have to use and what is the advanced pattern we have to use. All these things were designed and then calculated by myself and Kodak team and all. So by this, we were able to match the gravure quality prints in CI flexo, and the technical support from Kodak was very, very good. So, and our future plans are to go for a wide setup, and then we are in the process of making a feasibility study regarding, along with the Kodak, regarding going for a direct laser engraving, which is for manufacturing of sleeves as well as for elastomer plates. So, and another factor I want to say that this Digicap NX patterns screening has changed the entire technology a lot. Lot means lot, because this is evident from the printed samples and from the feedback from the printers, and they were able to save the varnishing inks and this, because the varnishing we are able to implement some advanced pattern, different advanced pattern, where it was the less consumption of varnishing ink and uniform flow of ink. because as Vidhu has explained everything in his presentation, that NX pattern, DigiCap pattern creates a uniform flow of ink, and the best part is it will complement with the analog rollers. And how far it is complementing and how far, what is the best this thing to suit his analogs is, you know, only by doing the fingerprinting. For example, one printer, it may suit advanced 1, one printer it may suit advanced 2, one printer it may suit advanced 3. So this, it depends from printer to printer. So my envisaging was only to doing a fingerprinting and give him a right kind of plate for right job. Next slide, please. Next slide. No, what markets and conclusion. Okay. So in a nutshell, now I want to make one more point here. See, now as far as this now corrugation industry, so Kodak is giving me a lot of feedback regarding corrugation sector, where this analog plate technology is, where you use analog plate. For this, Kodak has given me a good solution like DAPR film, where I can go up to 133 LPI and 133 up to 150 LPI also, with as good as results of having a digital plate. Because corrugation industry now is growing like anything, because now a lot of machines are coming for printing 4 colors, and they are eliminating the offset printing and directly printing on the board itself, fluid board itself. So this is creating a good market for us. For this, Kodak has given me solutions for various jobs, various printing jobs, such as by giving different shores of from 50 shore to 70 shore plates and different thicknesses, and all these things we are doing a lot of R&D for this corrugation industry, and the results are very good. So I have given all the samples and all. They are done some commercial jobs, and the printer is very, very happy. So we will be launching some of the product with Kodak is putting another plate, introducing another plate for this, especially for corrugation mill, that will be coming into commercial use very shortly. So this is the thing I want to emphasize, and thank you for Print Week and then Kodak for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Shyam Sundar sir. That was very, very enlightening, and a lot of discussion points in terms of flat top, square spot, in terms of the laminator process. And if we have some time in the Q&A session, we'll probably come back to you. For those of you who have any questions for the panelists, on the right side of the panel, you will see a small little chat box. You can type your questions in, and if we have the time, we'll get them answered live immediately after this session, or if possible, then we'll get the answers from the panelists offline later on. With that, I move to our third and final panelist, that is Sahil Rao of Akruti, based in Pune. In terms of the equipment, this is a nifty little boutique press which has a KBA Rapida 74. In terms of prepress, they have a GMG ink optimizer, easy tracks, PUR, perfect binding with well-bound, Sheridan, a Morgana Digifold, and so on. This year, the firm Akruti entered into a new venture, which is unboxed packaging, which was an exciting new foray. The idea was essentially to focus on customized packaging boxes. And I think what the Raos at Akruti were trying to do was create luxury packaging, which enabled their clients to design, produce exquisite packaging for stationery, wedding cards, gift boxes, LED, among others. The focus for today's webinar is essentially Senora plates, and as Vidhu had mentioned during his presentation, there are thousands and thousands of Kodak customers worldwide using Senora plates, and this global growth is projected to continue. Pune-based Akruti adopted this technology in 2014 and essentially shifted their prepress operations to deploying Senora. The adoption of Kodak's process-free plates by Akruti was for a variety of reasons, some of which again touched upon by Vidhu in his presentation: economic, environmental, production benefits. And I think what the father and son duo of Girish Rao and Sahil Rao essentially hoped to achieve was that the plates eliminated the processing step required by traditional thermal CTP plates and provide significant energy, water, and waste reductions, and also improve productivity on their print capabilities. So over to you, Sahil. And if you can share and provide us with a brief glimpse of what you've achieved in the past 30 months with Senora. Over to you, Sahil.
Thank you very much, Ramu sir. So today I'll be talking to you about the use of Kodak workflow and how we adopted the Sonora process-free technology. So can we start with the presentation? Yeah. So let me tell you about our company. So we are a 20 years old commercial print company, having a manpower of around 60 people and more than 300 satisfied customers. Our focus has mainly been on the brochures, magazine, and calendar printing. We have an in-house facility of prepress, press, and postpress. Especially in prepress, we have invested in the ink presetter, which is from the ink zone, and along with the X-Rite Easy Tracks, which is an online densitometer. So with the help of which we are able to produce exact color with minimum make-ready time and less paper wastage, of course. So we have also invested in the GMG ink optimizer software, which can, so we are able to reproduce sharper images with better color gamut. And it also provides us with ink saving potential of between 10 to 15%. So. Yeah, so why Kodak CTP and workflow? So we invested in Kodak CTP and Prenergy workflow in 2014, and having an in-house CTP facility helped us achieve our desired ink profile on paper. So basically, Preps and Prenergy manages the workflow and data of jobs. While refining files in Prenergy, checking the errors in the file has become really very easy for us. So error like images are in, if the images are in RGB, or if it's a low resolution file, or if the fonts are missing. So all these things are being taken care of in the Prenergy software. And it also helps us in cropping of the double spread images in the software itself. So basically for the real estate brochures and all, you have this double spread images. So you need to do for your binding part. So then this software helps us do the cropping itself in the software itself. You don't need to go to Photoshop or Illustrator to do the cropping and again get a PDF done. So then we can have a look of the final imposed PDF also in the workshop panel, and also the visual proof of the final plate output. So Prenergy also helps us generate the CIF4 data for the machine and can change the dot shapes based on the job. Whereas Preps helps us with the imposition of the files depending on the binding style for the job. Like if it's a center pinning job, if it's a magazine, then the imposition needs to be different. So you just have to put your binding style and then it will automatically get it imposed for you. So with a click of a button, we can add the crop marks, the fold marks, and also the color strips. Yeah, we go to the next page. Yes, Sonora process-free plates. A few months after our investment in the Kodak CTP and workflow, we started with the trials of Kodak Sonora process-free plates, which was a very new technology, and hardly anyone were sure about this technology. No one could give us a very concrete idea of this. So basically, we have always raced towards adoption of the latest technology, which increases the quality and also the efficiency of our press. So since the time we started using Sonora, we were able to achieve a very higher and better sharpness in printing. So even the dot reproduction was very good with Sonora because you are eliminating the total processing way over here. That's why the dots were very exact. So we were able to see a phenomenal difference while printing the vectors on or the ink patches. So I think that was the major part where we decided of adopting this technology. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so how this hassle-free printing happened. So we started using Sonora on our KBA Rapida 74. And then after the success of the Sonora plates, we totally got rid of the processor and made it a very hassle-free process. So we were printing varied number of jobs through these plates, like the real estate brochures, calendar, diaries, paper bags, magazine, even the cartons and books, and many more. So when it comes to real estate, they really require a very high quality job. And as discussed, choosing the latest technology is critical for increasing the quality and the efficiency of our press. So even our magazine clients were really happy with this change because they were able to see a better image than their previous ones. So that has helped us a lot. And again, Sonora is a very easy to use technology. Many of us think that it has storage issues, but it is exactly like a process thermal plate. So absolutely no extra care is needed while using this technology. So you can see the diagram over here. So this is basically the transition from the processed plates to the process-free plates. So you have a compressor over here, then you have UPS of the server, the seat stock, and on the bottom you can see the processor, the washing area, and the chemical stock. So all these things, the bottom line basically is needed when you're doing the processing. So now if you take it out, then you can see the processor is gone, the chemical stock is gone, and mainly the washing area, which is the most dirty area, I would say. It is the washing creates a lot of hassle when it comes to the processing of the blades because there are a lot of chemicals involved and your place gets very dirty. Since you don't have all these things, the area you save a lot of the space over here, and you can get your designing team and your photo finishing guys can use this space instead of having a processor over there. Basically, you're saving on the space, you're saving on the chemistry, you're saving on the processor maintenance, you're saving a lot on the water. So definitely you reduce the cost of processing. And again over here, as you can see, you just need one unskilled guy to operate this technology. So basically you're eliminating one entire process and it takes around 90 seconds to have a ready plate for your machine, which reduces dramatically with Sonora process-free plates. So the adaptation of Sonora process-free plates is most of the commercial printer have small run jobs and their plate consumption is very high compared to the others. So Sonora helps you save a lot of time with the plate processing and helps you increase your production. Since one big process is eliminated, you don't waste your time processing the plate. You just directly put the plates on your machine and you're ready to go. So when it comes to processing, you save on a lot of things like water, which is around 50 liters per day. That's like a huge amount of water. And again, chemicals. So you're completely eliminating the harmful chemistry over here. And electricity also, you're saving around 1,500 plus units per month. So I think these three elements are the biggest reason that also make the Sonora CTP ecosystem a eco-friendly plate technology. So thank you very much. I hope you like the presentation and you can get on. Thank you.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you very much. That was short and lucid. It sort of benefited us. For some of you, I think you've already pinged in your responses. Yes, these presentations will be available. We'll take the permission of the panelists and the speakers and share the presentations with you. And of course, there will be a report on Print Week for, you know, about the webinar. We have a few questions that have come in. So I'll start off with the first question that has come in from, there's a question about CTCP that was, yeah, so Sahil, this is a question for you. This is from Anupam Saxena of Budget Press. And it's a sort of burning issue in India, the debate between CTP and CTCP. And this is a press which deploys conventional PS plates, and he wants to know in what way can usage of something like Senora benefit him or benefit his operations. Did you get that, Sahil?
Oh, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
So
Yeah,
the question is there for you. You can read that. I'll just, in the meanwhile, I can just give some comments. So for those of you who are not sort of familiar, there is a huge presence of CTCP in India. There are two schools of thought. One that feels that it's a backward step, but at the same time, vendors of CTCP in India say that customers who've used either violet or thermal plate setters and moved to UV plate setters still get reasonably good resolution at 200 MPI and so on. And there's actually no difference between CTCP and violet. But I think, Sahil, you would be better placed to answer, if there would be difference between thermal and CTCP, and then what are the benefits that we can accrue from that?
Right, right. So I think CCP also, I mean, when you think about Sonora plates, as I've mentioned, you're able to get a very accurate dot since you're eliminating the process. So I think it's very necessary for, especially for a commercial printer, I would say. If you're using a Sonora plate, then a lot of time in the other thermal plates where you have to process it before printing the job. In Sonora, you can directly print it on the machine. And again, I think you really get a better image when you talk about this technology. So
thank you, Sahil. We'll move to the next question. This is a question for you, Vidu. This is basically that, I mean, something that we are encountering a lot with designers, brands, and product managers who are handling products in the supermarket and so on, that there is this multitude of acronyms and technological jargons. And if a technology leader like Kodak can, create a glossary which is in a way all encompassing. So, this baffling and bewilderment that they encounter when they're looking at different terminologies for hardware, softwares, workflows, that can be standardized. Is it feasible and doable, and can it be possible?
First of all, thank you for asking this question. It's a brilliant question. Thank you, whoever has asked this question. There's no name. So, yeah. First thing first is yes. You're absolutely hitting the nail on the head. There are so many different technical jargons being used, so many acronyms are used, and everybody talks a different lingo. In a perfect world, I would like to see that everybody talks the same lingo and everybody is on the same page, but unfortunately we are not in a perfect world today. In the time to come, would we be? The answer is yes. A lot of efforts are going on at this point in time to kind of standardize the entire so-called glossary to have a more simplified terminology for all the different terms being used in our industry. Are Kodak doing something about it? Yes, we are trying to simplify the whole prepress workflow, whole entire end-to-end solution, as you have heard me before. So one of the things that we have encountered in the past as an industry is designers, with no disrespect to you guys, you are probably the best asset to this industry because you have your own whims and fancies, but sometimes it is hard for your whims and fancies to make it realize on a print process because of the limitation of the process. So Kodak is trying to eliminate many of those hurdles, but at the same time we are trying to put together something more simplified, something more easy to understand language across the entire value chain in packaging and in overall print process. So at this point in time, it doesn't exist, but in the time to come, yes, we are all working towards that. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you, Vidu. Stay on, because I think there are a couple of questions which may not come up on slides, but I'll probably ask that. We'll move to the next slide. Sahil and Shamsundar, this is a question for you in terms of how successful have you been in terms of introducing certain best practices in color management, or in your case, Shyam Sundar, in terms of fingerprinting among your customers? And how open have they been to, how open have they been in terms of being receptive to this? Are your customers essentially, as comfortable as you are on the technology front, especially related to prepress? So, Sahil, you could probably go first, and then Shyam Sundar can step in after that with fingerprinting. And then there are quite a few questions about Senora, which I'll ask you and Vidu. Yeah. Sahil, over to you. Sahil, can you hear me?
We approach you can hear me?
Yeah, we can carry on.
Mainly certain PhD, I would say. So that helps us a lot in the it gives us a gamut. So all these things, what we have done is we have made brochure without GMG image has been processed, and with GMG image has been processed. We go to the clients, we explain the thing for us. So few times we get the clients over here, we explain the better.
Okay, Sahil, I think the network seems to be the network seems to be a bit off, so we'll sort of I'll cut you in. Shyam Sundar sir,
Sir.
to ask you, this is basically about fingerprinting. I mean, how many of your converters and printers, in flexo or in corrugation or in gravure, have you been successfully been able to fingerprint? And how often do you at Digiflex carry out this process, and what has been the response from your customers?
See, firstly, I like to tell one thing. No
Sure.
printer first says that he'll accept for fingerprinting. He'll say, I cannot stop the machine, I cannot stop this thing, the production will be lost, and what benefit I'll be getting. It takes pain for me to explain the basic necessity of fingerprinting. I'll put in one word that, sir, this is the MRI of your machine. Without knowing your disease, I cannot cure. By this, if you implement the fingerprinting, you can reduce everything can be done. All the problems which you are facing can be done in one shot. So I will explain in that way, and sometimes I'll give discount also. If my printer says I'm losing this much, okay sir, first job I'll give some discount, and if you feel that you have saved something, then only you pay me the other jobs, otherwise forget about it. Like that, I was able to convince above 90% printers, they don't agree for going for fingerprint, especially for CI flexo and corrugation people, because their production and then doing fingerprinting is for them is a very, very big job. They have to stop almost, because I do fingerprinting with all their analogs and with all their units and with all the machines. Suppose the printer is having 2 machines or 3 machines, I'll do. So it's enormous exercise. So I was tired, and then I was able to explain them in such a way that ultimately they agreed. After seeing the results, now the trend is, sir, I bought a new machine, first you do fingerprinting, I want your fingerprinting plate. Otherwise, I bought a new analogs, I want to do this job, this is the thing. So to create awareness of fingerprinting to a printer, it was a very, very tough thing for me, for which I succeeded in somehow or other. Sometimes I say, sir, I will not do your job, first job, because first job, if it get rejected, my name will go down, or it will. Like that, I explained everything to the printer. I convinced the printer. So that printer, after convincing, now every 3 months, some printers there, sir, you take the fingerprinting and do the profiling, because last job I have done, this was the problem, previous job it was good, now this is same job, if I am printing with the same plate, it is not good. Then I told, how dirty is your analog roller? What is the ink, how is the setting of your doctor blade? So how do I know all these things? Then he said, sir, every 3 months you come and do the fingerprinting, sir. It will take hardly 1 hour for me. So this is a response. After seeing the result, end result, this is a response. So for me, the fingerprinting is a lifeline.
Sure. Thank you, Shyam Sundar. That was a wonderful sharing. Thank you very much for that. Actually, there are a lot of questions about Sonora. So, Vidu, I'll ask them to you because they seem to be more or less on similar lines. So, the questions seem to be on the lines of how many prints or what are the run lengths that we can extract from Sonora plates. The other thing seems to be a lot of questions about costing and costing mechanisms. And the third is compatibility, that if you've had one set of workflow, how easy is it to adapt that workflow to a Sonora? So essentially, I'll just to recap and make it a bit easy for you, three sets of questions: run lengths and what the number of prints that you can get on the plates, costing mechanisms and costing modules, and compatibility if you're shifting from a set of plates to Sonora. So, and maybe Sahil, if we can get you back on the line, you could probably also, after Vidu's answer, you could, elaborate a bit. Yeah, over to you, Vidu.
All right, let me answer all three questions to the best of my capability. The first thing first is run length. Sonora has specific plates for specific applications, and in each application, there is a specified run length. So typically, and Harsh, please confirm if you feel I'm going off track, is about 100,000 impressions for a non-UV environment. With a UV environment, the run length is about 50,000. And then we have a specific flavor of Sonora plate for newspaper application. So each application, there's a specified recipe of the plate and specified run length for that. With regards to converting from another plate type to a Sonora plate, that is like a walk in the park. There is no real issues on that. As a matter of fact, you're making your life easy when you switch from a conventional digital thermal plate to Sonora. That makes it so much better, the conversion, that you don't have to now do any processing. The workflow that you are, the front end workflow doesn't change. Actually, nothing changes in the front end. Only changes that you have when you adopt Sonora is at the back end. You actually eliminate the processor, you eliminate the processing, you eliminate all the controls and maintenance of processors. So in the front end, everything remains unchanged as it was earlier. I would like to take the opportunity on the previous question as well, Ramu, with your permission, on the color management.
Yes, okay, please
Ramu,
proceed. Yeah, please, yes, please, yes.
So, color management is the widely abused term in our industry. I'm sorry for being so blunt on that. We often confuse color management with color matching. Color matching and color communication are color management are two totally different animals, as a matter of fact. Color management, I'll go to my, again, mantra of 3 C's: communicate, control, and confirm. So first thing first is color communication. Often, more than often, we come across the situations where your customer says, the color is too soft, the color is too bright. What is bright? What is soft? How do you understand that? The color is too muddy. How do you understand that? So my mantra of 3 C's have been since 1996, oh sorry, since 1992, when I first wrote my paper on color communication. You have to learn to communicate color with numbers. Once you start communicating color with numbers, you are actually eliminating every other variable from the equation. Number 2, control. How do you control color? Number 1, most importantly, start from this moment on believing on your most widely used tool called isometry. Don't rely on your eyes anymore, please. Start using some measuring tools like a spectrophotometer, spectrodensitometer, and once again, confirm the numbers with colors with numbers. Once you do that, you make your life so much easier. You make your customer's life so much easier. And most importantly, you have a total control on your operations on the color. So I can elaborate, I can talk all day long on this, but I'll stop here, and I'll be happy if any one of you have need more clarification. I'll be happy to take that whenever I come to India next.
Sure. No, probably we'll probably do another, a lecture demonstration only on color. It's much needed, and with all the bewildering technologies around, I think need of the hour. So with that, we conclude this webinar. Thank you everybody for participating. I see that the numbers have not depleted in spite of the fact that about 100 minutes have lapsed. I thank Vidhu Gautam from Singapore. I thank Sham Sundar from Hyderabad. I thank Sahil Rao from Pune and my team here in Raheja Zion in Mumbai. The news from us at Print Week is in about 2 weeks, that is from 18th to 21st, we have a jury week for the Print Week India Awards. This time we are hosting it in an educational institute because we felt it's befitting to share those print samples with new students and graphic arts technologists. So it's going to be at the SIS in Nerul. It's a 4-day jury week, and after which we will be announcing the shortlist in the October issue of Print Week plus our website. The awards night is scheduled for the first week of November, and details on all this will be available in the magazine and on our website and e-bulletins. So thank you all of you once again, and it was wonderful. And the proceedings of this particular webinar will also be available for those of you who have made the request. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramu, and thank you, Print Week.
Thank you. Story close.
Thanks, everyone.